Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of AKP Sports Talk. As always, I'm Ari here with Korea, July 3rd, 2 days into July. Been a brutal start to July for me on my end. We'll get into a recap. You had the one day, a legacy over in the Phillies Cubs game last night. Tough loss to the Pirates. What did you take from your two plays?
Yeah, look, with the Pirates, I was driving home and I got a notification that Nolan Gorman had a grand slam, and it was 6-0. And I said, you know what? That just sums up my Pirates first five play right there. It was all Cardinals, no Pirates. That was a horrible read. That was all on me. I sincerely do apologize. And then obviously the Phillies and Cubs, that was a legacy over. Honestly, I don't really count it as a win. Obviously, it was a win, but it was bottom of the ninth. Seiya Suzuki hit a 3-run bomb to push that over at 10. So we kind of got lucky. So it's a win, but I'm not saying like it was such a great win or anything. It was more of the lucky win. So a one in one day. I'm not really taking the Phillies and Cubs over. Obviously it was just the Trey Turner show plus some accompaniment from both the Phillies and Cubs. But for the most part, it was definitely nice to see Seiya Suzuki did obviously hit that 3-run bomb in the bottom of the ninth to push that over. So one day obviously just was absolutely never never the Pirates. It was just horrible read. I mean, they did. I will say they did make it interesting in the bottom of the fifth. They put up 4 runs, but it was all Cardinals. They were up 6-0. It was easy for the Cardinals, honestly. And then for the Phillies and Cubs, it was an interesting read. I thought both Pats were going to come. Honestly, I didn't really expect the bullpen to really do a lot of the damage, but the Cubs offensively, it was just a horrible game. They couldn't get anything going. It was tough to see their top four, pretty much outside of Cody Bellinger, not really have any kind of production. Horner 0 for 4, Bush 1 for 3. Seiya and Cody Bellinger had good days, but for the most part, Mercado went 5 innings, and it was just most of the reliable bullpen guys. For the Phillies that got the job done. So and then obviously Ruiz gave up that 3-run bomb, so that was nice to see. But obviously that was a legacy over right there. So I'm not cheering about it, but just patting myself on the back. That was a good one. Ari, yesterday was a tough day for you. I know.
Yeah, it was tough. Eubanks played this morning and he got crushed. I guess last year, I mean, it's looking like his run last year was like a 1 year thing. It's looking like right now because he's had kind of a rough go at it, like just at like every tournament for the most part since that one run in Wimbledon last year. So we'll take note of that. That maybe that his run last year was just a one time thing. Um, Royals was kind of a weird game where they were down 1-0, I think in the sixth, and then it was like a 4 or 5 hour rain delay, and I thought it was going to get pushed, or I thought because they were through 5 innings, so I thought they might just end the game there, but they wound up playing at I think it was like 11 o'clock local time in Kansas City is when they resumed, or something like that. So or 10 o'clock, 10 or 11, something like that. And I think they tied it, but then the Rays scored like 3 late, or they just got to their bullpen late. And the Padres, C's got crushed early. It was like 7-0 by the third inning. So all 3 really bad plays, but we'll move forward.
Yeah, like I said, Ari, the enemy of any baseball bet is a rain delay. If it's an over,
Yeah, but
sometimes.
they weren't doing well even before the rain delay, so it was still. Yeah.
I mean, I'd say they were doing pretty well. I mean, it wasn't like in terms of like their
At least,
bats weren't
at
doing well,
least,
but I
yeah,
was saying more of their pitching was doing well. If I was
yeah.
literally about to say their pitching was more doing well. If that, I mean, honestly, if that wild pitch didn't go, it was going to be like a 0-0 game anyway heading into the fifth. But you know, rain delay comes, anything could happen. So that was a tough one there. It was all Rangers. Padres never really had a chance. It was 7-0. Eovaldi kind of just back at home. Back into his former self. That was a tough one. And then you mentioned Eubanks this morning. That was a tough one as well. So 0-3 day, obviously, but we're going to bounce back, obviously, as we continue into this month of July. Obviously, only 3 days in. Fortunately, no soccer, so no Euros, no Copa America, no nothing today. We're just going to stick back to the diamond, going to Toronto, up to Canada. Usually, I know it's 2 days after Canada Day, I know, but I love this play today. I'm taking the Astros and Blue Jays under 8.5 here. We're getting at -115 on DraftKings here. I love this play because we have two pitchers on the mound who I think have bounce back starts. For the Blue Jays, we have Yusei Kikuchi, and the only real reason I really do like Kikuchi in this spot is because he's at home, and one, and two, it's a night game. Kikuchi, the one concerning thing is that the Astros obviously have plenty of history against Kikuchi, whether he was a member of the Seattle Mariners or now as a member of the Toronto Blue Jays. They do have history against him, but 273, he does pitch a lot better. His batting average against them, 273, allowing, he does pitch, I'd say fairly, considerably better at home when he does get his sleep. Obviously, he's had, 3 bad starts. Obviously, the 3 worst starts, obviously against Boston, Cleveland, and New York. So all really good hitting teams. That's kind of one concern here with the under is, just how he does at home. And, his last start against Baltimore, a really good hitting team, obviously. He went 6 innings, 6 Ks, in his really good last home start. That was back on June 6th, so a little over a while ago. And I'm pretty sure that was a night game, if I'm not mistaken. They did get the full game loss, but, the one caveat with the Blue Jays and unders is that their bullpen has been absolutely disaster all season. But I'm more backing the fact that the Astros are going to be doing a lot more damage to the other side. And on the other side, it's Ronel Blanco starting for the Astros. He has good splits against this Blue Jays team. Obviously, I think he has a good bounce back start. Obviously, his last start was in New York. He went 5 2/3, 3 innings. 5 2/3 innings, 3 runs, 5 Ks. He did get the loss. It was I think it was one of those games where he just couldn't find anything. Late in that 6th inning, I think 2 homers really did the job. Pretty much sealed the game there. I'm just more backing the fact that the Blue Jays are going to struggle against right-handed pitching. They always have all year. Obviously, yesterday was a little bit of a weird, fluky game, in my opinion, in terms of the Blue Jays bats kind of showing up. I didn't really think they would. A lot of people were kind of testing him against Arrighetti, and Ari, our favorite guy, Spencer Arrighetti Spaghetti, showed up right when we needed him to. Obviously, the Blue Jays bats showed up yesterday. I don't think they show up today, against Ronel Blanco, who I think has a bounce back start. And we're mostly backing on the other side, the fact that Kikuchi at home, the one concern about him is the fact that, he has had some rough starts against some really good lineups recently. Obviously, like I said, Boston, Cleveland, New York, and now going against the Astros at home, who have pretty decent splits against him. But I think, the one danger for me is that do not pitch to Yordan, because this man has homered in 2 back-to-back games. Just walk him. Honestly, I think Kikuchi should just walk him every time. Don't even try. He has 2 homers against you. Don't even try. Just keep walking. And if we can just hopefully get some ground ball outs here, we can have an under 8.5. I think after yesterday's game where all the runs came in, I think we get a lower scoring game. With Ronel Blanco on the mound, I think he's going to challenge the Blue Jays bats. And on the other side, I can hopefully Kikuchi can get out of some jams here and there. So I really feel the Astros struggle to bring in some runs today. So we're taking that under 8.5 at -115. And then we're going to the Bronx here, and we're taking the Reds first 5 plus half a run. We're getting it at -105. I was looking at this line, and I was like, why is Carlos Rodon such a big favorite at home? He should never be this big of a favorite. Rodon sucks. Exactly. Rodon, the thing about Carlos Rodon is that he does not look that Carlos Rodon that we saw in Chicago when he was a member of the White Sox. And now, as a member of the Yankees, I feel like he has had some up and downs, whether it's with recent starts, his career, whatnot. He has a 4.42 ERA. The one, I guess saving graces for Rodon is that he does, strike out a lot of guys. He's top 50 in Ks. He has 92 strikeouts. He does eat up a lot of innings, and that's what I think the Yankees really want out of him today. Just someone who can eat up innings. In his last 3 starts against Boston, Atlanta, and Toronto, he's allowed 5, 7, and 8 earned runs through 5 innings. Doesn't even make it past the 5th inning. 8, 7, and 5 earned runs. And yes, those are against, teams that, can hit the ball well, especially Atlanta, who can hit lefties. The one caveat about the Reds, obviously, they do strike out a lot with obviously guys like Elly De La Cruz. And, we saw how their bats pretty much showed up yesterday, when they needed to. De La Cruz had that 2-run bomb, and I think at the top of the 5th, 425-foot bomb and, all that stuff. I'm just tasking the Reds here to not be down by pretty much, or at least hopefully tie it. I don't think I don't think the Reds be down by too much here. I think they really keep this competitive through 5. The one thing I don't like about the Reds is obviously when they get to the bullpens, those two bullpens are definitely too different in each aspect in terms of how good they are. But I do like the Reds just to cover the run line here through the first 5. I think they make things a little bit competitive and interesting, especially with Rodon on the mound for the Yankees. And on the other side for the Reds, it's Andrew Abbott. And Andrew Abbott, I feel like he's in this position where he's a little bit on a decline in terms of how he was last year. But, in his last few starts, he's looked pretty decent, going 10 Ks, 5 and 2/3 against the Red Sox. He's went 5 innings against the Cardinals, went 5 innings against the Brewers, went 5 innings against the Cubs. He just goes, consistent 6 innings. And that's what I'm mostly targeting this first 5 for. As soon as the Reds bullpen comes in, I don't know what's going to happen. And obviously, I know the Yankees are going to get to the Reds eventually, especially after yesterday. Aaron Judge finally got his homer eventually, but it was after obviously the first 5. So it's kind of a repeat of yesterday, I think, is going to happen today. The Reds making competitive for the first 5, and I think the Yankees with the bullpen comes in. I think the Yankees, eventually get the full game win. But I just like the Reds to keep things interesting through the first 5. So I'm taking them plus half a run here at -105. I don't think the Yankees get out to a lead through the first 5. I think it's a close, competitive game, potentially with runs coming from both sides. Hopefully the Reds aren't losing. So obviously we can cash this bet at -105. Those are my 2 plays today. Taking the Astros, Blue Jays under 8.5. Just fading, both lineups here in this spot. Mostly fading the Blue Jays lineup because of Ronel Blanco and his bounce back start, I believe, is going to happen today. And hopefully Yusei Kikuchi got his 13 whatever hours of sleep, because we're going to need him to be dialed today against a Houston lineup that obviously has hit him pretty well. And then the Reds first 5 plus half a run. The Yankees, obviously, you can take it for what it's worth, because obviously the Yankees have one of the best lineups in baseball, but they do have a little bit worse splits in terms of the lefty-righty matchup. So, and obviously we just need Andrew Abbott to not do too much damage, just limit the damage as much as he can. The last time he allowed, more than 3 or 4 runs was back in May 28th when he allowed 6 runs to St. Louis at home. And obviously that's a very hitter-friendly ballpark, Great American Ballpark. So we're asking the Reds to keep things interesting through the first 5. Don't be losing, just obviously keep things competitive, hopefully be tied, maybe even leading. But that's all we're asking for. Just don't be losing through the first 5. That's what my 2 best bets are for today. Ari, what have you cooked up for this Wednesday?
Yep, 2 plays. One, I'm going back to the Royals, but only first 5 because I want nothing to do with their bullpen. Just going first 5. Michael Wacha on the mound for Kansas City, who's had 2 strong starts since coming back from injury. Ryan Pepiot for the Rays, who's been pretty bad on the road as of late. Obviously, Littell's been bad on the road and was bad on the road as well before he dominated the Royals yesterday. So we'll see how this plays out. But Royals trying to avoid the sweep in this series. Their bats have been cold for the most part as of late. So we'll see if they can wake up. That's kind of what I'm banking on for the most part here. Again, avoiding their bullpen late, just going first 5. Backing Wacha, who's had back-to-back strong starts since coming back from injury. He's kind of been limited a little bit. Like I see, he went 9 pitches last game, but he only went 5 innings and 5 1/3 in his 2 starts since coming back from injury. So hoping he's going another strong 5, and the Royals can get 3 or 4 or whatever off Pepiot. And then going to the Angels and A's, Joey Estes against Davis Daniel. Daniel made his season debut last week against the Tigers, went 8 scoreless. Estes has been significantly better at home this season. He has like a ERA, I think it's like 2.7 or 2.8 at home versus an ERA of like 7 on the road. So he's been significantly better at home. This game's in Oakland. I'm going first 3 under just for one time through the lineup for both pitchers. I do worry that once they go, a second time through the lineup, that things could be different for them in terms of, them getting hit harder. Just going hopefully first 3, first time through the lineup, under 2.5 at plus 100. Just one time through the lineup for both pitchers to do their thing. So Royals first 5 ML, and then Angels A's first 3 under 2.5.
I do like that play, Ari, kind of running back a play from yesterday. You mentioned, The Royals at home yesterday, kind of disappointed, but that weather game and whatnot, you can kind of blame that. But the Royals bats didn't show up, whether or not against Zach Littell at home. And I think Ryan Pepiot on the road, he does struggle, and I think the Royals do bounce back in this spot. At -110, we're getting a good price. You mentioned some of these rookie pitchers or pitchers who don't have much experience, they will tend to be a lot better at home versus on the road. And the stats say themselves for Pepiot. He does struggle on the road, so I do like the Royals first 5, not having to worry about any of the bullpens for the Royals. So I do like that at -110. And then going back to one of your favorite plays, Ari, first 3 unders, Angels and A's. Obviously, I do like that play, kind of fading both lineups here. The Angels lineup has been very anemic, obviously, without the absence of both Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani since the beginning of last season. And, I just don't really see this lineup really doing anything. Obviously, Estes has good splits against this Angels lineup. So, just asking for pretty much just one time through the lineup, not really allowing too much damage. And on the other side, for the Angels, it's Davis Daniel. And, the A's lineup, not really anything to be too scary about. One of their better hitters, obviously, which is crazy to say this, Ari, Abraham Toro, one of their better hitters. Unfortunately, he's out on the IL. So, really big ask of this A's team to really get some runs across the board through the first 3. So I do like that play for you, just fading both lineups one time. Just asking, both pitchers just get through the lineup one time, getting that first 3 under 2.5 at even money there. And then the Royals first 5 money line at a pick 'em, almost priced at 110. Those are Ari's 2 favorite plays for you. I love them. My 2 favorite plays on the day, Astros and Blue Jays under 8.5. And then the Reds first 5 just to cover the run line at plus half a run, -105. You can get both of these plays from me and Ari. And of course, this full video on our Twitter below, AKP Sports Talk. That is our Twitter. You can find all of our videos, full cards and whatnot down there. Obviously, give us a follow, like, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That's Ari. I'm Korea. Obviously, don't forget tomorrow, 4th of July, we will be having a Nerfy stream. So please come on in, join us as we sweat out a Nerfy. Obviously, a simple 6 outs. We're going to be deciding our Nerfy or Nerfies, question, wink, wink, later tonight. Obviously, plenty of games in the morning. Don't worry, we're not going to be waking up at 8. We're not going to be waking up at 8 in the morning for a Nerfy. So you can scratch out the Mets and Nationals game tomorrow morning, but there's plenty of games in the morning that we do like. So obviously, we're going to be choosing our best Nerfy there. But obviously, that's going to do it for this episode of AKP Sports Talk. That's Ari. I'm Korea. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Win some money, and we will see you guys tomorrow.